Welcome back, everyone. We took a little bit of a week off. Work and stuff got a little crazy, but we are here back better than ever. We have two former castaways of Survivor Roysan, Merrimack Madness, and Sonia and Casey. How are you guys doing today?
Good.
So good. Happy to be here.
Yes.
So JT and I will be breaking down episodes 3 and 4 of this lovely LRG. So episode 3, we start off with Cohost, because they had just lost a member. And then my first note is Dan, I believe, has the first confessional, and he's a golf ball engineer. And I don't understand what that is.
Yeah.
Same.
I didn't understand that either.
And
Did
then
he explain it to you guys? Like, what
I
is
mean,
golf ball?
I mean, not really. I mean, I was on Cohost with Dan, and I had no idea that he was a golf ball engineer until I saw the beginning intros and all of that. So I'm like, oh, good to know. I thought I knew my tribe pretty well, but I guess not.
Yeah. JJ's looking for the positive quote. I'd like us all to make the merge. He tells us some people are just sus AF, and they're like, Luisa is kind of just like rubbing people the wrong way, but he really wants to work with her. Where I just want to see more of Luisa, because like currently we're not seeing a whole lot of Luisa, and I just want her to, like, I guess maybe ramp up at some point. So how was playing with Luisa, Casey?
It was actually really cool. She's actually who I camped out with on the first night, so we got to talk a lot, get to know each other. I'm excited to see how she's going to do in the future episodes, because you're right, she seemed a little quiet and in the background, but then I figured out that she was a big reason why I was able to stay after episode 2. So yeah, JJ was right. There's definitely some people to suss out that I didn't see yet, just being there, but watching it back, it's really cool to watch, and can't wait to see what Luisa does.
And then big news, John finds the idol hidden on the back side of a tree that Coach K looked at. So
man, I'm telling you, you gotta be thorough. There's at least twice, and that's just off the top of my head that I can think of, where I was, like, in hindsight, I found out that somebody got an idol, and I looked there. I looked there, and I wasn't thorough, and someone else got it. I'm talking to you, Sarah, if you're watching.
So, Sonia, what was like the Suncook idol hunt situation looking like?
Really. Oh, sorry.
Were you tribe idol hunting, or were you individual idol hunting?
Not a whole lot of either, actually. So I tried to look a little bit here and there, and like you said, I literally found out later on that a place that I looked, there was an idol there. But there really wasn't a whole lot going on. Obviously, like, I thought there was. I thought Peyton was it during that first episode, so that's part of the reason why I wanted to vote him out, because he was just being so by himself, and I was like, I really don't know. I don't trust him. So I thought there was, but there really wasn't a whole lot of talk about it. There wasn't a whole lot of looking. There really
interesting.
Very,
and that's a little scary.
Exactly. Because you never know what's actually happening.
Exactly. And then, so Casey, were you guys group idol hunting or more individual?
It was definitely more individual, and I mean, I suck at the whole Survivor thing, so full disclosure, I had no idea that that's something that I was supposed to be looking for until like way later, and then I'm like, well, there's no way that there's still idols available. I just kind of screwed up on that one, but now I know moving forward. But it was definitely individual, because I was not part of those idol hunts at all.
So Coach K is in the chat here and wants us to not talk about him missing idols. Sorry.
Oh man, Coach, I miss you. That's so funny. I laughed real hard when I saw that they zoomed in on the idol that he conveniently missed, but better luck next time.
Yeah. So now we travel over to the Sun Cook camp. Tremern is just stressing that people are talking without him. Sonia, how did you notice that Tremern was just with everyone and anyone? Because it's obvious, at least to the viewer, that like he's talking around.
Honestly, it really wasn't that clear who was talking to who. It seemed like everyone was talking to everyone at the time. It really was. There was like sometimes were small groups, but it was always like these two people went off, and then these two people, and then like those two people somehow swapped, and now they're talking to each other, and like, but it was everybody mixed constantly, so it was so confusing. Like there really wasn't defined groups, and I guess looking back now, like yes, Tremern was a big part of everyone was talking about him and like being with him, and I guess that should have been a red flag, but and there seemed to be like a consensus of, okay, these are the people that are on our list to get out, basically. And that's always seemed to be consistent at the time, but it was never like a definite, there was no real defining alliances or anything, it seemed.
Yeah, there was a group proposed that was quoted to be just such a random group of people. Kate, Tremern, Noah, and yourself. I think it was proposed by Kate, and like Tremern has a confessional just being like, what is this group? I don't know, but okay.
Yeah. The same thing was going through my head when she said that, because I knew that she was with me at the time, and I was proposing a girls' alliance, and I was hardcore against like with that. And they seemed to all be with it too, and then all of a sudden she just
maybe
was like,
that's your downfall is the girls' alliance.
Always, honestly. Yeah, I think so I played in the past, and in the past I went against a girls' alliance, and so that was my issue. So this time I was like all for it, and then I was like, again. I can never win on that.
Something that I noticed that Tremern does really well here is he's campaigning to make sure that like everyone is cool and like to that we're all going to be on the same page if we lose and we go to a vote, but he's not doing it in a way to make it seem like he cares who goes home. All he cares about is that everyone's on the same page. And I think that's where his charm comes in, where everyone's like, this guy's all for the team. I'm here for it. Like, I like this guy. I just hope that doesn't come back to bite him in the ass later.
I think one of my favorite quotes I've ever heard, I had to write it down like word for word here, was from Erica, and it's about you, Sonia. I feel like Sonia is here to play the game. I feel I can trust her, but I also don't know. So it's just like she's so conflicted. Like, you're a gamer. I want to trust her, but I can't, but I do, but I don't, but I do. And it was just, it tickled me that she was just so conflicted of like, I want to trust her, but I can't.
I feel like that was a lot of the vibe of our tribe, was like, I feel like I can trust these people, but at the same time, like, I don't know. And I feel like that was like a huge downfall for us too. It was just like that there was not like a solid trust between anybody.
Well, now we go to the immunity challenge. 2 people are untying tennis balls. 3 people throw the tennis balls at targets, or they could use a slingshot. And then after, they have to grab some golf balls to navigate a vertical ball maze. And then each person has to get 1 ball in the maze. So talk about your times in the immunity challenges. So Casey, we can start with you.
So that immunity challenge was super stressful because I was part of the ball throwing team, and I was thinking, wow, I played softball in high school, not thinking that that was almost 10 years ago, and I'm probably super rusty. So I was missing everything, so I'm glad that the other people on my team kind of picked up the slack there. There was something that wasn't shown where I threw a ball underneath the trailer and I had to like swan dive to go get it. Cut up my leg, but you know, it was a valiant effort, but it was a little bit embarrassing. I'm glad not a lot of me was shown.
And Sonia, how was your time with this immunity challenge?
This one was very frustrating for me because I was at the end at the ball maze. And so just sitting there, and my team continuously ended up throwing the ball underneath that trailer.
Mm-hmm.
So we just constantly only had like 1 or 2 balls, and they just kept going under and under and under. Right. And so being there watching it and not being able to do anything is just the worst feeling. And you just feel like you're losing already, but you just like have that little bit of hope, like, what we can do it. Like, yeah, so hard.
I mean, the puzzle / maze, like, you never know where where that can end up. JT, what spot would you pick? Mr. I don't want anything to do with puzzles, even though I'm good at them.
I probably would have been a thrower. I don't want to say like that my throwing is like the best, but I do like pride myself in my like my learning curve. Is there a word for when you take a learning curve like quickly, like you learn quickly?
You pick up on
like
fast learner.
Yeah, like I'm a fast learner, like especially like when the adrenaline's going and like there's something physical, I really can be like, oh, so maybe I should just go to the left a little bit and I'll get it. So I think that I would excel at that part. That's why I'm not good at like balance, because there's only one way you can do balance. You know, like you can't like adjust. So I definitely would have been a thrower for sure.
I'm untying tennis balls 100%. That's easy. I think that's the least room for error is the tennis balls, in my opinion. So I'm just like, you know what? I'll untie them. But so Cohost leads into the final stage, which is that puzzle. And Suncook, you get so close, you get to the puzzle, but Cohost eventually gets the win. And now, you know, we go to Suncook's camp to try and scramble and see what the vote winds up being. Sam, Erica, and Tremern kind of want to go Kate, but then there's the Sonia option that Andrew wants because he's out for vengeance and is like, Sonia put my name down, I'm going for her. So it's just kind of a battle of Sonia versus Kate, and Tremern doesn't want people to be in the middle or left out of the vote, and it kind of happens here. So it went he doesn't want like the idea of a 4-3. Right. So eventually, Sonia, I'm sorry. you were the one voted out this episode. Sad to see you go. I had predicted last podcast episode that Suncook would lose, but I didn't think you would be the casualty. I thought they would knock off an ally of yours instead and keep like the experience and the what I would say you were good at challenges, so keep that aspect around as well. So sorry.
It happens.
I think what I found interesting about like this whole time from like post challenge to tribal council was everyone was trying to I don't know. Everyone was trying to set themselves up for if we were staying on the same tribe and if there was a swap, right? So a lot of times, especially with seasoned LRG players, like when they're looking at numbers, it's like there has to be a swap next. So they get tunnel vision and they make their vote based on we're going to a swap. And then they're screwed when there's no swap, right? Whereas there's so many new players that in everyone's mind, we were like, okay, we know that there's like this swap thing coming, but we also don't know how that works. And we don't know if that's happening right now. So let's also try to plan for in case we don't swap. Like what would be our best option if we don't swap. And so a lot of the conversations, especially with Tremern, were like, let's all be on the up and up so that in case we're with these people again, that we don't have like this battle going on, you know, which I thought was smart. Because at first when he was, you know, in his confessional was like, I don't want to, you know, draw the lines. In my head, doing the exact thing that I just, you know, said that I shouldn't do because I'm thinking like an LRG. I'm like, bro, put those lines because you're about to swap. It doesn't matter. You're about to swap. But you have to remember that two things. First, you might not swap. And then second, if you do swap, what if you end up on a swap with the people that aren't on your side of that vote? You're screwed now. Yeah. So it was very interesting to see everyone like really trying to make the best decision, taking a swap into consideration.
For sure.
And honestly, Sonia, I was so surprised when you had gotten voted off so early. And even looking back on how you played the first couple episodes, I'm like, really? She seems like someone to like keep around. But, you know, Tremern has been shocking me with how he's been playing too. He's like that social chameleon and blending in really nicely. But when you left, honestly, it had JJ kind of shaking in his boots a little bit, seeing another camp counselor go so soon. So it kind of put everyone into perspective over on Cohost's side too, that no one's safe, you know.
Yeah, I know that if I was on Cohost and then I came into the challenge and I hear that Sonia was voted out the last tribal council, I'm thinking like, well, in my eyes, I gotta keep JJ as much as I can, because what that tells me is that there's at least one person on that tribe that is like, all right, these camp counselors gotta go, right? So the longer that he's in with me until I get on a tribe with those people that are willing to cut them, that's just one more vote that I can get through. You know?
Yeah.
Smart. So, JT, did you have any questions for Sonia?
Yes, Sonia. So I have a couple questions. So the first one, why Andrew and not someone else? When you first wanted to, earlier in the season, when you were trying to, you know, make a plan in case Payne had an idol, why Andrew? Was there anything like specific that he did that we didn't see, or?
So it kind of came back to like the first night. We were all like hanging out and stuff like that, and that's when Kate and I actually sat down and like became really close, and like we're like, this is good, like this is gonna work. And we both kind of like we're like, Andrew rubs me the wrong way. He feels like he's gonna play really hard, like he feels like it just feels like he's gonna be a troublemaker essentially. So we had both kind of talked about that, and then once I kind of thought about the whole Peyton thing, like, oh, what if he has an idol? And like, what if he wrote my name down? Like, who knows? And I don't want to go home, so let's write somebody else down. And I was talking to Kate about it, and I knew how she felt about Andrew. So I was like, how about Andrew? And that's just like the first person that came to mind. It was the first, like, I don't know. It felt like that was the right choice just because it felt like he was going to.
Right. Did you like make an effort to try to garner more, or were you like, if he has an idol, 2 votes will do it, let's just leave it at that?
That's all I tried, was just getting, it was literally as I think minutes before we walked up. And I was like, I need to talk to somebody about this. I need to get one person on board with this. And because I didn't want to be the only one to write down a name. So I was like, there needs to be a second person, because then it's too easy, which ended up being too easy anyway.
Right.
But yeah, so that's why I just picked her. I pulled her aside and I was like, hey, this needs to happen.
When you were talking to Kate before the vote, when you went home, did you like consider trying to get her to help you flip it, or to try to get the vote off of her?
Honestly, that's the conversation that I think about the most. Conversation with her, because I'm standing there and she's like, I trust you. Like, and I'm like, I trust you, but I'm like, I know I'm about to write your name down. She probably knows she's about to write my name down at that point. And I think that was both of us like being like, give me something. And
Right.
neither one of us did anything. And I feel like if one of us had said something like, they're going after you, or like if I was like, they're going after you, like I think that could have
Right.
definitely changed our whole like
Trajectory.
gameplay.
What happened to the Girls Alliance?
I know. Honestly, I was gunning for it. I don't think they really showed too much of it. Where I was talking to Sam and Erica about it, and they were the ones who convinced me to vote for Kate. And I was like, I don't want to. I really don't want to. And I was like, I'll think about it. And then I came back to them because I didn't want to go against the Girls Alliance, or I didn't want to go against them, and be the odd man out, essentially. So I was like, okay, I'll go with it. And it really killed me to write down Kate's name. I felt so bad about it. And I was like, this is the one person I don't want to vote for, but
Right.
they got me. They got me too. So.
And when you knew it was going to be between you and her, right? Like how much did you know?
I did not know that it was going to be me.
Okay.
I didn't know. I thought it was going to be unanimous because from what I knew, everyone was voting for Kate.
Got it.
Yeah.
Who did you think Kate was writing down?
I honestly didn't know. I probably thought Andrew. I probably assumed it was Andrew. But yeah, I think that's what her and I had talked about at the time, because I think we were both going to vote Andrew or something like that. I don't remember who we had talked about before in our conversation, but
this game, man.
Yeah.
It'll get you.
As soon as I saw my name on that like first vote, I knew it was me. I like knew at that point. Like I was like, oh, I'm done.
Yeah.
That was the hardest part.
That's the thing. Like when you think when you go into a vote and you're like, all right, I did something I didn't want to do, but this is what has to be done. And you're like, all these votes should be the same. And then there's one vote with your name on it. You're like, what the fuck is happening?
The majority of times I play a game, I don't get my name written on a parchment until like that's when I get voted out. So the first time I see my name on a parchment, I'm like, all right, it's been good. It's been fun. One note that I forgot to mention about tribal council is Andrew said this is payback for the first eviction ceremony. So I don't know if people want to clue Andrew in on the game that he's playing, but it is tribal council. We are not playing Big Brother.
Yeah, we need a 30-day notice to lock in our votes, our ballots.
That was fun watching it. Mike did the same thing, so
yeah.
It was like wrong.
That is funny.
Exactly. JT, do you have more questions for Sonia?
No, we kind of answered them throughout
the
conversation.
Perfect.
No, we answered that. Talk about that. No, that's everything, I think.
Well, with that, we will move to episode 4, where Sonia, were you able to stick around and like watch stuff go down, or did you leave from there?
So I stuck around and watched the challenge, of course, very salty, and hoping my tribe would lose, but they won, so I was a little upset. But yeah, I stuck around for a little bit, and I think I stayed until the end of tribal, and then I ended up leaving.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
you guys both know who won the game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay.
No spoilers.
Yeah, no spoilers. No spoilers.
So we begin episode 4 with Suncook, Tremern back at it again. He put in the work for the unity and the cohesion of the vote. But he's worried about his huge presence now, that he's trying to control votes, that he's like been the puppet master a little bit, and he kind of wants to hide away from that now because Sonia's gone and she was a big presence that he could hide behind, and it's now not there. So I'm worried for Tremern a little bit, but he seems like his social awareness is actually rather good. So I don't think he will have a problem navigating it, but it's definitely something that his ears are aware of. And then constantly guessing about a tribe swap here, which, I mean, isn't, you could, like, you could do an exile or something like that, but with an odd number. And then analyzing Cohost, which I always think is interesting, of other tribes analyzing other tribes, of like, what's the dynamic? They voted out this person, why? And so I guess, Casey, what was the Cohost version of like, ooh, who's the leader of Suncook? Who's in power?
Honestly, I'm trying to remember back. I honestly think we thought like Noah was kind of running things over there, which is funny because I'm actually not seeing a lot of like him talking now, watching everything back. We didn't think Tremern was such a big presence at all. I think we thought kind of like the top dogs might have been Noah, maybe Erica, because she seemed like, a bigger personality, could get along with some other people. And I honestly thought Kate was going to do pretty well, too, because she was pretty social. But I think we were all wrong with, who we thought was, the leader or who was running things over there. But it's super cool to watch back now.
Yeah, for sure. And then we have a consensus of a group idol hunt. Let's go hunt for this idol. And then we had a quick like sidebar with Tremern being like, I found the idol. And then like that was it. And I was like,
Yeah.
Okay.
I wanted to know where he found the idol. They just threw that in like a little Easter egg, and I'm like, oh, good for him.
I didn't know where it was.
Yeah.
It was like under a rock somewhere, like randomly.
That's funny.
All right.
Those are the
And,
best ones, man. It just happen to just be walking, talking to someone, and kicking a rock, and then you're like, "Oh shit, an idol!"
Cool.
You see a bit of like orange fabric come out,
Right.
like, oh, okay.
Hide that for later.
Yeah. It would have been interesting to see him find it because the group was hunting for the idol, to like where he put it, like, oh, holy crap, is anybody looking kind of deal. So maybe next episode with the swap, as we get in the preview later on, we will see what happens with this idol. But now we turn to Cohost. They're like all back in that unity. We won again. We're a happy little family. And Coach K is happy they went to Tribal. They could solidify some alliances and really kind of get this game going. And then, unfortunately, they say like, oh man, Casey's just like, we have Casey if we lose. And I was like, oh.
No, I thought that was so funny because that's what I was thinking the whole time too. I'm like, if we lose again, I know I'm out of here, but I'm gonna have fun. But it's fine.
I was kind of hoping that like that was like gonna be like a big like red herring, and then I was like, please come on, be CBS and just tell us that this person's going home, and they lose and the person doesn't go home.
Yeah.
And as I was after the challenge, as I was watching the conversations, I was like, yeah, they think it's gonna be Casey.
And I was okay with that because I honestly thought that I was going to be voted home after the eating challenge where I threw up and it was real bad. Definitely lost that for my team, but so I was just happy to make it to 4.
Hey, you didn't ask for that eating challenge.
I
okay?
did not.
Like, you did not ask to be that person.
So sorry.
Oh my god, it was the look of terror on my face just watching it back. My job has memed my face now from that one little snippet of like me looking at the Marmite. But it's fine.
Speaking of that, since we have people that actually had to do it here, describe how it tasted.
What is it? Just like it's like the consistency of Nutella, but if it was soy sauce.
It was like, and you got like a little after flavor of like what you think dog food would taste like. It was just like, and it would just linger.
It's so salty,
It's so
and it
good.
was hard to swallow, and it was just all bad.
What
I
is
still have PTSD.
what is that used for in real life?
They
It's
use
like a
it.
spread on bread.
Yeah, I think
It's
the
not
Australian version, the Australian version is Vegemite, and then Marmite is like more UK, but they
UK,
like
yeah,
put
yeah.
it on
Oh, okay.
toast or something
Yeah.
weird like that.
But it's like you don't have a
You don't eat it.
spoonful like that.
No.
It's just like light, like
Yeah, bunch of animals. That's not how we're supposed to eat it, but it's
Right.
fine. That's the challenge.
Not
It
a
was
fan.
vegan.
yeah.
Yeah, at least it was vegan.
That's what like Liam's whole selling point was on it. It's healthy.
Yeah, great.
Just
Good for
because
you.
it's vegan does not mean it's healthy. Just let's put that one out there.
Doesn't
you
mean
go.
it tastes good either. So
That is funny.
Before we get to this next challenge, JJ has a confessional and he is back with his list and is like, I wanted a day one alliance and hasn't felt that strong bond with someone. And he's like, I could flip. I'm not like diehard Cohost strong. Where Casey, would you have been like Cohost ride or die, or if the timing was right, a flip?
I would have been Cohost ride or die till the very end. I loved like every single person on my tribe, and I meant it when we said that we wanted someone from Cohost to get to the end. Like, so I was going to, stay with my Cohost tribe as long as I could and have their back, and I was really trying to push the fact that I would be loyal. And that's fine. They maybe didn't hear me, but no, I was with them from the jump. I don't think I would have switched up. I don't think I had it in me. I didn't know how to play a mean game.
So, what were your thoughts on JJ? Because he seems like a very just bouncy, bubbly guy and wants to like be in on the votes, but doesn't want to control them, but winds up controlling them, and like the whole camp counselor situation. So what were your thoughts on that?
I thought JJ was awesome. I think it's funny looking back, like in his confessionals, that he didn't want to be like, a big person in the tribe and like have a say in everything. But when we were all having conversations, he was always the one to, crack a joke, make sure we were together as a team. So when I think of like Cohost, I thought of JJ as like a big kind of leader, which is the opposite of what he wanted to be seen as going in there. But that's just his personality, how he acted everyone. He was super nice, and I think he was playing a really good game, because I thought he was Cohost strong till the end, but then when he said that I could flip, I'm like, well, good for him. He's believable. I think honestly that one person he would have had the alliance with till the end, like on his list, would have been Rachel if she didn't end up leaving. So I think that kind of foiled his plans a little bit, but I think he's great. He played a really good game.
Sonia, did you feel like a loyalty to JJ because of the camp counselor thing? Because like you have no other ties to him besides just like, hey, you guys both played this game before.
Yeah, so we actually got a chance to chat like at the very beginning, like right as like they were announcing the tribes and stuff, because we walked out together and we were both like, what's your game plan? Like, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? And then I kind of was also like, hey, let's see if we both make it to the merge, and then like, let's chat and like, let's figure something out, like see where this goes. So there was like somewhat of a, if we make it somewhere, like, yeah, like, let's get on the same page at some point.
Nice.
That would have been really good to see. That would have been everything. I would have loved to see like the two of you guys make it to like the merge together and play together, and then one of you have like an intense confessional, like I don't want to go against her, but I have to, and then your confessional, like I don't want to go against her, but I have to, and then you guys both write each other's name down at tribal council, but neither of you go home, and then you have to talk about it. That's
what should have happened.
Intense,
JT's fantasy season. Let's go.
I love it. I love it.
We're gonna have an episode after this of what JT wished happened this entire
right?
season.
Play by play.
So this challenge is one that I love because there's so much room for error, just like personal, like I forgot to flip this tile. So there's 6 discs, 2 at each station, in a triangle. It's the challenge that we see in Philippines, where they have to all land on heads or whatever you would like to call it. I think it was dot and X, and you have to have all of your symbols up with all of your symbols down with the other tribe's symbols up. And the first one to get that one's a point, and first to 3. So, Casey, how is competing in it?
Embarrassing, but it's fine. I had a hard time with that one because, when a train's moving at full speed, I can't come to a complete stop like that. So I fell on my ass, a couple times. I tried my best. I wasn't quick enough, but my team put in a really, really great effort. It was a really close game. But it was fun, a little humbling.
Did everyone on the tribes have to go? Like, did you get to that point of like everybody went?
Yes. I'm pretty sure we had to have someone sit out, and I was hoping that, maybe I could be that one person to like sit out for the team and maybe we would have won it. But I'm pretty sure Morgan ended up sitting that one out. But a couple of us did have to go again, but at that point we were able to pick like out of who already went who could go again, and it sure as hell wasn't gonna be me. Yeah, everyone did get to go except for Morgan.
Okay, because I was going to be like, I volunteer to be absolutely last. I do not. You guys go win the points because I'm not going to. I'm just not a fast runner. So
that's almost more pressure though, because I was close to the end too, and by that point, like they had already had a couple points, and if I'm going last and someone beats me, then I took that L for the team. So I would rather just go first, get it out of the way, and then hopefully my tribe mates can get those points after because I'm not going again.
But I feel like going first on that one, because like also it was so hard. I feel like it was hard to figure out the strategy of it.
Oh
and,
my
like,
god, I had no idea.
Like, I don't know how to do this. How do you win?
I have no idea.
Played a version of this challenge in Survivor Buffalo. But instead of like the trunks, they were like, like the discs that you like line a football field with for like football practice, like the flat, but kind of like they have like a little cone on them.
Yeah.
So they were those, and they were in 2 different colors, but there were like 20 of them. So you had like 2 rows of 10, and so you just had we had a time limit, and you just had to have as many of your teams up as possible. That's exhausting.
Oh no,
exhausting, because it's like you do one row and you're like flip, and then like 30 seconds left, and I'm like, what? I feel like I've been doing this for 2 hours.
Yeah.
And so I'm just wobbling my big ass up and down this field trying to flip these discs. That challenge is hard, bro.
I could never.
Yes, that challenge is hard. So kudos to y'all.
There are a couple versions of this type of challenge in the challenge as well, where they have to like turn over logos or have a certain amount of like balls on the other side of courts and stuff. So Casey, props to you for even just doing it, because like this challenge it's in its own is a difficult
oh god, yeah. I got that participation award there.
Sonia, are you happy you didn't compete in this one, or would you have liked to wrestle it up? And
honestly, I was fine. I was sitting there watching it. I was like, I don't know how to even begin this. I was like watching them, and I was like, how did they figure this out so quickly? Because like it just didn't make sense to me. I was like, I thought we were just gonna keep running around and flipping the same ones over and over again. How do you end this?
It was confusing.
Yeah, I think the strategy since there's only 3, I guess maybe you flip just theirs. first, right? To have them in the negative, and then you go, and then afterwards you flip yours, because because they have to not only flip theirs now, but they also have to flip yours. But it's just both people can't be doing that. Like,
And
only one team has to go into it doing that.
I want
right?
to say in Survivor, in the Philippines version, they have them running at clockwise and counterclockwise, like one.
Oh.
So, but in this, it got a little crazy with like the
Mhm.
running back and forth. So like there should be a point where there's overlap, but with
Yeah.
this one, everyone was just running. So,
Right.
Yeah.
so there's not an easy like lap. Like someone's
I feel like
eventually going to
this is-
tire out.
Right.
Yeah.
This is just about who either one, someone tires out, or just who's faster than the other
Mhm.
to be able to flip before the other person can.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't me.
Yes, and this means Cohost goes to tribal council. So now we're in the scramble phase. We see a confessional from John, which I really like, where he's like, I'm the middleman. I'm not on the bottom. I'm not on the top. I'm just floating in the middle. Everyone's coming to me with all the information, and I'm doing what I wish with this information. And I'm like, damn, you don't really see like players that look like John being like the middle kind of go-to guy. They're usually like the alpha male top dog. Let's see what happens. So I'm liking John so far, and I think he could go decently far in the game.
Yeah.
And then they think Carl has the idol. He does not have the idol.
It's like
and then Casey, you want to vote Morgan out, which I guess it was a clue that Morgan wasn't going home, because we haven't really seen much of Morgan in the episodes. So that kind of was like, oh man, Casey, I'm sorry.
Yeah. And looking back in retrospect, I still think I had to target somebody, because I needed to try to convince my tribe that I needed to stay. I was going to be that loyal person, be in an alliance that, I clearly wasn't in, but thought I was, but it's fine. But looking back, Morgan wasn't part of that like group of 5 people at Cohost that they were saying they wanted to make it. So I'm like, that was a good person for me to, try to target at least. Not because like I don't like Morgan, she was really sweet, but I didn't have any type of like, strategized conversation with her. I didn't really get her thoughts on any of the other people. And by that point, I was very vocal and talkative to the rest of my tribe. So I was just trying to kind of, dig that in a little bit. But, I still think, I wouldn't have changed anything, because it would have been real awkward if I was going to gun for one of the 5 people who were in that alliance. They would have been all over that. So,
yeah.
It's fine.
And then we get one last confessional from Coach K of like, he wanted to flip the vote last minute like he did before to keep you, but we see here that he didn't want to create a bigger target than what is clearly already on his back. So he knew you would be loyal, but had to preserve his own game.
I get it. It's fine. No hard feelings.
So if you, Casey, if there was someone that, like at least one person that would have gotten on board to do Morgan, would you have tried to push it more? Or
I think yes. Not a lot. Well, when I was trying to push my vote for Morgan to everyone else, I think everyone was just being nice to my face. And they weren't going to be like, no, like, and no one really. I'm trying to think back. I think the only person who probably let me know that there was a target on my back was Coach K. And I appreciated that, so I kind of had that in the back of my mind. But oh God, I don't know. it's a lot to think back on, but I still really like Morgan. I'm glad, looking back, that she wasn't really a strong player on the team in everyone else's eyes either. So I thought that gave me a little bit more of a chance. I knew I wasn't going to do well in a lot of the physical aspects. I was trying, but that's okay.
So then we go to Tribal Council, and Casey, I just want to say I loved your exit. That's exactly how I leave games, where I'm just like, it happens. It's fine. It's chill. I'm good. Like, congrats. I hope you guys pull through. But
No.
Out with class.
Call it what you want, McKenna. I am cussing everybody out, up and down the house.
See, what helps is I knew it was coming. I knew I was on my way out. So at that point, I had time to kind of process my feelings. And honestly, I was just so happy that I had made it that far because, like I said, I really thought I was going home like episode 2.
Yeah.
And I was like really touched when a lot of people wanted to give me hugs at the end, and then Liam made a comment of like, this was the nicest tribal council ever. And honestly, none of it was fake. I really loved everybody. They were all super nice and chill. I know that they're playing the game, so I had no hard feelings. I think it was funny that my final thoughts were lost, but they said she had nothing but nice things to say. But it's true. Everyone was really great, and I wasn't surprised.
Yeah, it's sad we lost you this episode, but the last little bit that we get in this episode is what's coming next, and we get a swap. What people inferred these episodes, what the little like the swap circles or whatever on that tree mail was really the coin flips. So next episode, swap, baby.
We knew it was coming. We felt it in our bones.
I'm so excited for this swap. I would love to see Tremern and JJ on the same tribe.
Yep.
If I get that, my Survivor Roysan dreams will have been come true. And that'll be everything I need, because I need both of them together in the same tribe, because I need them together.
You were robbed of the Sonia JJ
I was.
pairing, so now you need the Tremern JJ.
So what is the where are the state of idols right now? So we know that
Tremern has an idol.
Yeah. Tremern has an idol.
By the way,
who knows and who all knows about his idol?
I don't think anybody does.
We barely know about his idol.
Yeah.
Barely caught that.
And of course, Coach K has an idol.
Oh yes,
of course.
He found it.
So we could find 2 idols on the same tribe. We could split them 1-1, and then who knows what other advantages are in store now that like something new has evolved in the game and both idols have been found. So
this could be interesting.
I'm excited to see how people are gonna play their idols, and there's gonna be some tea coming. I'm excited for.
Yes, and we are here ready for it. JT, do you have any questions for Casey, or did we talk about them?
Yeah, I think I asked them all. I'm just excited for this swap.
Yeah.
Swaps are my favorite part of Survivor. Always have been.
Yeah, you get new dynamics.
Yeah.
I love the tribal phase. I mean, I hate it as a player because I just want to get to being like myself and like playing for me. But I love watching a tribal phase and having them have to navigate as a unit. So
I love like a good swap. I love like a good summit where like you have to pick a new tribe that you don't know nothing about these people. Like I just love it so much. It's the best part of the game.
Yes. Well, that is it for our episode recap of 3 and 4. We were joined by the lovely Sonia and Casey. Sad to see them go so early, but glad we got to talk to them today. And we will see you hopefully next week, but who knows? Work gets crazy, but we will definitely finish off this season at some point.
Absolutely.
Thank
Yeah.
you guys.
All right.
Hey.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.